Hello and welcome to a brand new weekly programme called Cutting Edge, which has been produced by Sheffield Hallam University students for Sheffield Live. I'm Kiri Green.
And I'm Tom Davis. On the programme this week, knife crime is on the rise across England and Wales. In Sheffield, nearly 1,000 incidents involving knives were reported last year.
And Sheffield's pantomime scene is almost over, but we discover if the traditional British event is as popular as it used to be. First on the show today, knife crime is devastating communities in Sheffield, with almost 1,000 offences recorded last year.
Figures show there's been a 53% increase in the use of knives or sharp instruments between 2016 and 2017. So I went to look at the impact knife crime has had here in Sheffield. Sheffield has had to face a sharp truth in recent years. Knife crime is devastating communities. Knives like these are confiscated by the police, yet they have the potential to be life-changing for families. Sam Unwin, a student at Sheffield Hallam, was robbed at knife point in this alleyway here at Devonshire Green, and he says that more police presence is needed if the knife crime in the area is to improve.
You know, you had some people getting stuck up with knives down the Ecky Road. You've had obviously myself here. You've had people all over being stuck up with knives, and I think more police presence is just going to start to deter that. Anti-knife campaigner Antti Olasendi also says education is vital. He set up the Keep Sheffield Stainless campaign with Stay Safe Security. He's trying to make a difference in communities and help educate youngsters on just how damaging knife crime is on families.
Somebody gets killed, okay, that person's dead. You've got his mum, his dad, sisters, aunties, uncles, grandma, his friends, their parents. You know, it wipes out whole communities when people get stabbed. It's not that simple. It's not just a case of, oh, somebody else has died. I mean, if it's not your relative or somebody you know, it's just another stabbing for you. But if it is somebody you know, it's life changing.
Sheffield is known for its nightlife, but in recent years, incidents at popular nightclubs have hurt the reputation of the city. South Yorkshire Police recorded 977 offences this year compared to 986 last year. Despite its improvement, knife crime is still a worry. Cavan Brissett was murdered in August and the killer is still on the run. His aunt Libby Hamilton, who is campaigner of Anthony, says she's taking each day as it comes.
Until about 4, maybe 5 weeks ago, I was still in shock. I'm not 100% sure that I believe that he's obviously not coming back. But what I've had to do is, I basically, every day I have to get up and tell myself that he just wouldn't want me to do, he wouldn't want us to wallow, he just wouldn't.
The Steel City will always have its problems, but with campaigns like Anthony's and the help of the police, it gives people just a glimmer of hope that the situation will improve over time. This is Tom Davis for Cutting Edge.
We just saw Anthony Olasenda in the piece there, and he joins us today in the studio. So Anthony, can you tell me a little bit more about this campaign and why you set it up?
So yeah, Keep Sheffield Stainless, it's a knife crime campaign, and it's to try and reduce knife crime in Sheffield. I do a lot of work with young children, young kids, and I noticed that they were all worried and they were all thought it was normal to carry knives. So I made the campaign to try and deter that.
So we know you put these workshops on as well. Can you tell us a bit more about those and what you do? Do you mainly go to schools or do you go elsewhere?
So yeah, I go to secondary schools and also I go to like hostels where young people are, aged up to 25. The workshops are made of 4 modules. The first module is the knife crime stats and facts. So we look at knife crime that's on the rise. We look at facts like you're more likely to get stabbed if you carry a knife. The second module is conflict management, where we look at triggers, how the human brain works when you're angry or when you're scared, and we look for signs on other people and how to de-escalate conflict. The third module is the effects of knife crime. So it's not just looking at my point of view, or the person's point of view that's doing it. It's looking from the NHS point of view, people that have lost loved ones, and you know, so they get a clear picture all the way around about what's happening. And the final module is inspiration. So I tell them a bit about my life and a bit about what I've done and how I turned it around to become successful. And I've got videos from other business owners in Sheffield that have done the same thing, so it gives the young people something to aspire to.
And I saw a couple of weeks ago you were campaigning with Libby Hamilton, whose nephew Cavan was fatally stabbed. How is working with her helping with your cause? Because
she knows firsthand what it's like. Luckily, I've not lost nobody through knife crime. Close to me, I've lost friends, but it was her family, and her input is vital because she's been through it all, and that I need to know her side of things to make sure that the services that I'm providing suit people that have lost a family member, and I can also support them.
Yeah, so we know knife crime is on the rise in Sheffield now a lot. What would your advice to be to young people who are thinking about carrying a knife?
Don't carry the knife. You don't need it. I know a lot of them say it's self-defence. To me, how is a knife self-defence? Knife is used for killing people. You know, you don't carry a knife for self-defence. You're on the offence. Maybe they think because the other person's got a knife, I carry a knife, it's normal. It's not normal. You don't need the knife. You know, if you're in a situation where you think you need a knife, remove yourself from that situation. Don't get involved in it. Keep away.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for joining us today, Anthony.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Last year, Sheffield was named as one of the most gay-friendly cities in the UK. But the LGBT plus nightlife scene took a hit last summer when OMG, one of the UK's busiest and biggest gay venues, permanently closed its doors on West Street.
But the fun isn't over yet for Sheffield's large and growing LGBT plus community, as there will be a brand new gay quarter which is set to be completed over the next year.
Dancing the night away, but the LGBT plus nightlife scene seems to be fading fast. There are few events like this one, a makeshift club converted from a vegan cafe and filled with members of the LGBT plus community. But that is about to change. Temporary clubs like these will be making way for a whole collection of permanent bars and clubs, to be known as the Gay Quarter.
This is the bottom of the moor. It's home to the Sheffield City Council offices and a few shops. It's fair to say at the moment it looks a little bit bleak and even slightly dull, but this is where the Gay Quarter is set to come to life this year.
There are already 2 bars in the Gay Quarter, and the plans have been broadly welcomed by the public.
I think it'd be really nice, like places like Manchester have like a proper like gay village, and it's a really nice area, and I think like they could definitely do something with this area because it's a little bit like grim and nasty, and I think it would bring something really nice.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, why not? I think it's alright. I haven't been there yet, but it looks pretty nice.
I think it's really nice to have the area rejuvenated. I think it's a bit decrepit now, and you know, like the gay village in Manchester is so nice, and it's like quite a hub for gay people, and I think Sheffield kind of needs one.
One of the newest venues in the Gay Quarter is a bar called Queer Junction, which opened its doors last September. The manager, James Dunn, hopes the area can be a safe place for the community to enjoy themselves.
On the nights out, they don't have to walk all the way through the city centre. There's a lot of people in the community that feel uncomfortable walking around in public, especially if they're coming down wearing different items of clothing that they'd feel awkward in the day. So keeping it down here means they can stay around here and they can get taxis straight outside from here, so they don't have to venture outside.
For Sheffield's LGBT plus community, the Gay Quarter should be fully up and running by the end of 2019. Kiri Green, reporting for Cutting Edge.
Earlier, we caught up with Kirsty Rutter, the LGBT plus representative for Sheffield Hallam University at the Hubs.
We began by asking her what would having a gay quarter mean for the LGBT plus community.
So the Gay Quarter is absolutely fabulous. Yes, favourite word. For the gay community, what it really means, especially within Sheffield, is that we have a designated space we can go to if we need it. It's not like we're just floating around up and down city centre. We have a space where we know we belong. So unfortunately for a lot of LGBT people, they do have a bit of an identity crisis and don't feel like they belong. It can be within families, friendship groups, and their workplace. The Gay Quarter, is a place where you know you can go and you know that you belong there and that everyone there is in a similar boat to you, and it's just amazing, and it's so good for well-being in terms of mental and physical and just generally happiness.
Do you think the gay quarter will be a good alternative to Leeds and Manchester's LGBT plus nightlife?
Personally, this is the first gay quarter I really know of, so I don't know how to judge it against a village like in Manchester. I think it's a great idea because it encompasses more than just the idea of the nightlife and the going out to bars and clubs. We have a gay sauna opening in the gay quarter. We have well-being teams upstairs, hopefully. So it's absolutely brilliant in my opinion. I can't say whether or not it's going to be better or worse than a village, but I think it's a great idea nonetheless.
So why do you think there are so few places specifically for the community?
Personally, I think it's because it's been marginalised for so long, and sadly a lot of the UK, especially in the north, is a little bit behind in LGBT issues, putting it as politely as possible. But I think we've made a massive breakout in the last few years. We have a great charity called Say It, who are absolutely wonderful. We have brilliant staff networks here at Hallam. We have Signal, and then myself in my role. Despite whatever happens, we are persevering and getting through everything we can, and I just think that's so brilliant. But sadly, we are still a little bit behind, but yeah, we're catching up.
Why do you think the community face so many challenges in society?
I think it's the same as any marginalised group. When you've been pushed back and as a minority for so long, you do unfortunately have to face awful questions when you do ask for basic human rights. I mean, any other group that has been marginalised has the same issue of it's fine living in the shadows, but as soon as you come forward and say, hey, no, I'm not okay hiding, that's when questions start getting raised. And unfortunately, no one likes to give up anything, and no one likes being attacked or accused of being in a more privileged position than anyone else. But unfortunately, it is the case in society.
And how much do you think this quarter will help the inclusion of the community in the city?
I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I think it's like I said earlier, it's a space that we have that is like a beacon for everything gay in Sheffield. But I think in terms of inclusion, it's going to give an opportunity for people to be able to come out of the closet and be gay and happy outside of their home or outside of their close-knit community. And I think Sheffield as a whole being able to do that, being able to say, wow, look at this is amazing, look at all the cool things these groups are doing, that's only going to allow us to work with more groups and the wider Sheffield. So I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant in terms of everyone getting involved with each other and then improving inclusion.
That was Kirsty Rutter speaking to us earlier at the Hallam Students' Union.
But now, let's have a look at the rest of the news around Sheffield.
South Yorkshire Police will be hiring a record number of police officers this year. They will be increasing their numbers for the first time since 2010. After a series of inspections over the last 2 years, major improvements have been made and the force are now in the clear. Their effectiveness and leadership have been positively recognised by Her Majesty's inspectors.
EE have announced plans to bring 5G data to Sheffield. The network will be brought in by the end of 2019 and will be faster and more responsive. Other UK networks will be trialling the service later in the year.
A popular hotel and bar in Brincliffe is due to open in March this year. The Salter Tavern on Salter Lane closed in 2016 but will reopen as a boutique hotel. It will have 23 bedrooms as well as a bar and a restaurant. We all thought football was coming home in 2018, but now rugby is coming home as the Rugby League World Cup arrives in England in 2021.
But as the race to host matches comes to a close, Sheffield is hoping their bid will see the best rugby league teams in the world play in the Steel City. Daniel Dawson reports.
This is Sheffield Eagles Rugby League Club preparing for their new season in February. But before that season can get underway, the Eagles will be paying close attention to the Games World Cup, as Sheffield hopes to be named as the host city for the 2021 Games. Sheffield Eagles are the only professional club in the city. The team won the Challenge Cup in 1998, but finished rock bottom in the league the next season, as their team went bankrupt. But should the World Cup come to the Steel City, it could be exactly what rugby league needs.
We've needed a bit of a boost, you know. We've been outside the city for a number of years, come back into the city, and as you can see where we're training tonight, the stadium isn't quite complete, but it's en route. So, you know, to get the World Cup in 2021 would be massive, and we've always talked about getting a major event in Sheffield to kickstart rugby league.
And the game would definitely get a boost, as Sheffield City Council are looking to promote the sport. being heavily involved in the bid to get the World Cup to Sheffield, with the men's games scheduled to be held at Bramwell Lane.
Now, Bramwell Lane is normally used to hosting Sheffield United's home games, but it's no stranger to hosting other events. For example, this famous ground is once held host for a Yorkshire County cricket match, an FA Cup final, and even a Bruce Springsteen gig. And come 2021, the Rugby League World Cup can be added to that list.
Olympic Legacy Park will host the women's games, with the English Institute of Sport holding the wheelchair games, which will bring thousands of fans to the city.
It's a world event. All the men's games have been covered live on the BBC. You know, the last event was covered in something like 115 countries and watched by 150 million people. So from an exposure point of view, it's pretty big. This is a big stadium, 30,000 people, so definitely bring visitors to the city. And there's economic benefits. You know, they'll fill hotels, they'll fill bars, they'll fill restaurants. So we win all round.
As the decision reaches the last lap, let's hope that England will be lifting the trophy on home soil in 2 years' time. This has been Daniel Dawson for Cutting Edge.
Christmas! It's behind us.
Oh no, it isn't.
Oh, but yes it is. Pantomimes, however, are still in season.
The panto is a traditional winter event in our culture, but is it still as popular when it first came to Britain?
We sent our reporter, Chloe Linkins, to find out more.
Hello, Sheffield! Hey!
We all love to have a little giggle at the pantomime.
I went to the doctor today and he said to me, don't eat anything fatty. I said, what, pies, chips? He said, no, don't eat anything fatty.
The pantomime dame is a popular character who is key to making the audience laugh. Damien Williams has been Sheffield Lyceum's dame for 11 years. He knows exactly how to play it right.
You've got to play it as a man in a dress. There's got to be no question in anyone's minds that you're a man for the minute you come on. You don't want to confuse the kids, so you don't want to make it too draggy. You know, my dame's very sort of clowny, big boots, men's boots, and also I like to play it as part of the audience. So I sort of let them in a lot when I play dame, so I'm sort of on their side.
But even though the pantomime is considered a Christmas tradition, rehearsals start in November and some shows go on until February. The cast have a few weeks to rehearse and to learn new skills to impress the audience when the shows hit the stage in December. So what do people love about the panto?
I like the Christmas pantomimes because, you know, in the sort of industry we're in at the moment with all film and television, I think it's really important to keep sort of actors and real life stage productions and stuff in. I also think it's really fun, especially for kids, to get into the Christmas spirit. So yeah, I like the pantomime and I like to go.
No, the grandkids love it. I mean, we've got two now. One was 18 at the weekend and another one's 18 in April, and you know, they keep coming and
keep saying,
really...
have you booked yet? Have you booked yet? Because we think, you know, they've grown up and they might not want to do it, but oh yes, they do.
I think it goes with Christmas pantomime. I think it's lovely. I think the atmosphere is out of this world. It's 2 years since I went last because the kids have got bigger.
It's safe to say that the pantomime is still just as popular as it used to be. Maybe it's just as essential to Christmas as turkey and Brussels sprouts. This has been Chloe Linkins for Cutting Edge.
Do you know what? I would actually love to go to the pantomime and I'm 22.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to relive a bit of your youth, but it's just not my sort of scene anymore.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm just going to take my sister and act like we're going for her.
Well, you have a great time.
That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks for joining us on the very first Cutting Edge programme. We enjoyed putting it together and we hope you enjoyed watching it.
On the next programme, another team of students from Sheffield Hallam will be bringing you more news and features from around the Steel City. Join us at the same time next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah, I wasn't bad. I like that one.